My name is Carlton Hill. I'm Vice President of Device Operations and Developer Services at AT&T, and I was very pleased to be a panelist here at Empowering Women for Open. I work with application developers and our innovation foundries here and in Plano and in Tel Aviv. I live in Atlanta. I have two wonderful children, and I'm really glad to be here at Open that Saturday.
So how did you hear about Open? How did you connect to Open?
Faraz Hoodboy works with me at AT&T. He's actually in our foundry in Palo Alto, and he asked me if I would come in early this week since we were going to be working together next week and be on the panel this morning.
And I heard that you spoke about women empowering women. You were one of the panelists for that. So how did you like the topic and the people who were asking questions to you guys? What interests you more?
Well, we had a great group of women on the panel. I think a lot of different kinds of careers and career structures to look at. There was a couple of women from the finance world. There was a woman from J&J who'd come through from a nursing career all the way up through a corporate career. So I thought we had a good variety. But I've got to tell you, at this event, I'm really struck by the young, excited members of Open. These women really look eager to take control of their careers and to find out what tools are available to them. I mean, that's really, I think, what energized this event.
And how long have you been at AT&T?
Oh, Lord. It'll be 27 years in September. So it wasn't always called AT&T. I'm sure you may have seen there's a comedy routine about how AT&T breaks up and calls itself 18 different names and comes all back together again. But I started with the Bell South branch of the family, and I have been with that continuing 27 years.
So, as we have been talking about women leadership, I bet that when you first joined AT&T, did you have ever any challenges being a woman in that industry, in the telecom industry?
I mean, I think there are always challenges to anything that makes you a little bit different from the leadership structure, right? At the time that I got to Bell South, to tell you the truth, I felt more different because I was less of a sort of corporate person, and I was very young. I got out of college when I was in my 20s, and I was managing rock bands, and I kind of got a big job because we needed to buy a bunch of equipment and go on the road. So I felt like those were more differentiating things about me. But I was also a woman. It was a very male environment. And over time, though, I learned how to use those differences about myself to add more value to my company, but also to make myself stand out in a crowd instead of considering those things to be things that held me back.
That's excellent. And do you still have a band?
No, my son has been playing bass in a band since he was about 12. So we still have plenty of musicians around. I'll never forget the first time I saw him play with his dad. I burst into tears. But I worked with a lot of bands back in the 80s, Georgia Satellites, Jason Scorchers, so I keep in touch with them.
So that's a good thing that keeps you going even now, right? So you're still connected to music in certain ways.
Oh yes. And my children, I encourage them to be musicians. They're very fine painters, both of them. So I think it's really important to keep that aspect going in your life.
And what's your typical work schedule though? I mean, is it really, really hectic, a lot of traveling, really from 8 to like 10 p.m. kind of job or that kind of stuff?
Well, we have a very bi-coastal company because we have a huge headquarters in Atlanta, a huge headquarters in Dallas, and then a huge headquarters on the West Coast in Redmond outside of Seattle. And I have staff all over the country and some in Tel Aviv. So I really do find that I get up and start my day very, very early on the East Coast, and I finish it pretty late on the East Coast because I'm finishing up with everybody on the West Coast. But I also work for a company that's, outfitted me with technology that lets me be a lot of places at the same time and still stay engaged at my work, right? So I didn't miss soccer games when the kids were in high school, and I didn't, I did not go to art performances because I could always be reached there. I answer my email pretty much 24/7, so I kind of feel like I'm always at work. I'm pretty much engaged all the time.
Tell us something about your product at AT&T. Like you said, you were application developer side, right? So
right.
What kind of products?
Interestingly, right now, I really am here to serve a new customer base for AT&T rather than just the consumers of our general base product like telecommunications or data services, whatever that is. Developers are my customers. So we have recently opened up our network services through a series of APIs that allow long-tail developers even to integrate our core services like voice calling and messaging into their applications. And I serve that community. So we run a big developer program. It's got about 30,000 members. And we're growing by like 50% a year. So it's a very exciting place to work.
And do you want to give any message to women who want to pursue a professional career, or especially the ones that hasn't been into a professional career before? How could they? What's your message?
The biggest message I can give to anybody about trying to pursue a dream or start something brand new that you've never done before is you just got to take a deep breath and do it. You won't wake up 6 months from now and it will be less scary. You won't wake up and it will be easier. There's not a magic degree that will make you walk into a job and feel like you're already an expert. I mean, my mother's been telling me since I was about 10 years old, if you're not scared to go do that next thing, then it's not a step forward. So you need to embrace your fear and go out there and get it done.